We're going to solve radical equations today, so we're getting radical. Woo. Yeah, mathematics is so radical. So radical equations are anything with a root. Right, so
That's radical.
okay, that's a radical equation. Right. You remember what the parent function for the square root of x is? What it looks like?
Looks like the way you're about to draw it.
Radical.
That's what I said, it was red.
Nope. Wrong. You're wrong.
Is it the one that goes like the one from the origin, but it goes like this?
Yeah.
Woo!
Boom shakalaka.
I told you, it's a ray.
That's not a ray. A ray is a straight.
Radical.
The rays are straight in mathematics.
Not necessarily.
I'm going to ignore your comments of stupidity. Does anybody remember what that looks like? So square roots positive only, right? That's why we're in the positives. What can happen here? Can it go negative? It can actually. Cube root. Does that look oddly familiar? The cubic, what does a cubic look like? Like that, right? They're inverses, right? So a cubic would come here, whereas you reflect that over that line. Okay, so a reminder there where we're headed. So basically what you're doing here is finding where does this cubic or square root function equal 3. Right. So where does this black line equal 3? So you're finding this x value, right? So pretty straightforward. How do you eliminate roots? Yeah, this one we're going to square it, right? Okay. So we get and what is x? 4. Okay, so it's a pretty straightforward example of a problem that you could solve, right? What if I threw this at you? Okay, yeah. So first, on radicals, you have to attempt to isolate, right? Isolation is good here. So to isolate the radical before we can make any statements. So I'm going to subtract 1, right? And do you?
No. Yes. Yeah. He said they can't do it.
If I square that, will it give me an answer? Okay, let's try it. What's my answer? 9 equals x?
Yes.
But tell me what? I thought the square root of 9 was 3 and plus 1 was 4. Is that 4? We always have to check our answers. So check it in the original. Does -2 equal the square root of 9 plus 1?
Absolutely.
Nope. Okay.
Well, you could do the negative square.
Yeah, but there's no negative. Okay. Why did I stop here and question your answer? Why did I? You said square it, and I said, oh, do ya? Can a root give you a negative number?
No.
Okay, at this point, you could have told me there are no solutions. And I don't have to do any more mathematics on that problem. A square root cannot ever be negative, right?
Yeah.
So be careful. right?
Does that just mean-
So you can recognize that early. It'll save you some time finding an answer and checking it. Okay. You good with that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, bold statement. Okay. Try. Step one, put it in solitary. Yep. So -4.
Are you gonna even, a negative or?
Okay, she's asking a good question. Are we gonna cube it because it's negative?
Yes.
Do cubics allow negatives?
Yes. Absolutely.
They do, actually.
Every day of the week.
Remember, the odd numbered exponents and roots allow negatives. So we can continue. That's -64. Right? 4 times 4 times 4, negatives. And then subtract 2.
Please? Whoa.
You okay?
Oh, it's 4 not 2.
Whatever, man. Remember, check your answer.
It works.
Does 4 equal the cube root of -66 plus
2 plus 8.
2 plus 8?
Yes.
In fact, it does. Yay! I'm so happy I got to do math.
That's a yeah, not yet.
Yeah, it has an H on it.
Yeet.
Ziggy.
Yeet.
Okay. All right. So those are ones that I'll expect you to be able to do pretty proficiently. Okay. So do you have any questions there?
No.
It's fine. We're tired, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Here's the harder one.
It's hard.
Shut up, Richard. Somebody knows.
I know.
You bet.
I'm actually surprised how many people, or how few people that.
I always am too. Honestly. I am right there with you.
I quoted the other day and my friend was like, are you kidding? I'm like,
You've never seen Tommy Boy? Comedic classic. Yep.
shame on you, Chelsea.
Put that deer in the car, and wake up.
This is big 3-point. Okay, so aside from that, can I isolate?
No.
Can you square it first?
That's what we have to do on these. This causes some issues right there. We can't isolate a radical, so we have to square these beginning. We'll have to isolate, then we'll square them again. Okay, so get her done.
Get her done.
Both sides. So this is x plus 10, right? It works really well. So we got rid of one of them, but we have to FOIL that monster because there are 2 of them. Right?
Here's all of them.
I don't have a problem right now with this. Unless you're asking me something different and I've been just lost. Okay. FOIL that out, right? So I get 25. And then I get minus 5 root 3 minus x. Again, minus 5 root 3 minus x. First, outer, inner, last. Plus 3 minus x.
Well, wouldn't it be, so you don't take the negative,
Negative times the negative, you talking about this?
no, I'm talking about the negative in front of the square root.
They're right here. Negative times positive. But this is negative times a negative, it gives me a plus.
I'm just confused on why it isn't in front of the square root like it is in the.
Oh, like you think it should be right here? Those are multiplied together. Right? So let me say this. What if I have like negative 10 times 5? Is that the same thing as negative 5 times 10?
Yes.
Okay, so it doesn't matter where the negative goes? No. Okay. Simplify. What's 25 plus 3? 28. Minus x. And then these are minus how many root 3 minus x's? 10. 10 of them, yep. All right, now we're at the point where we can isolate the radical. Yeah, these problems can get kind of long. So I'm going to move those two numbers, that number and that letter, and I get 2x minus 18. Am I isolated enough to square it out?
No.
You can actually, you can do it
What
right
about
now.
negative?
So if I divide by 10 here, it's going to cause us some decimal messes, right? So we can avoid that if we just leave this here. Okay. So if we square both sides, four x squared minus 72x. What's 18 squared? 296? 324. What does that equal to now? 100 times 3 minus x. And we still have all whole numbers, right? It does make things easier. Probably a 4.
Oh. Like, you know, a Disney line? Exactly what
I distribute. This allows you to keep. Uh, 2x times 18 is 36. 3672. Are you guys okay if I leave stuff like this, or do you want me to write it like this?
That is. Why would we want it the other way?
Top or bottom?
Uh-huh.
All right then. Thank you, all 5 of you that answered, boys. All right, so I distributed. Now I'm gonna. It's a quadratic polynomial, so I set equal to 0, right? So I'm gonna get 4x squared plus plus 28x. Add 100 x's, right? And subtract 300 plus 24. That actually becomes a really easy polynomial factor. And you know, it's a good day when we extend a page. Suggestions on solving this polynomial? Anybody? Obed? Walk me through solving this polynomial.
Just like terms, right? There you go.
How can you make it easier to factor? How can you make it easier to factor?
You get 4 out of all of them, right?
Yeah, greatest common factor of 4.
X squared, 7,
Okay.
I get 7, multiply it 6.
Say it.
7. 6 and 1.
So x can be -1 or -6. Right?
You have to check it on this one?
You have to check them.
You gotta do like you just woke up.
You better recognize you've been here for a couple hours.
No. This is my first class. I wasn't here for 3. He's online.
I see. I just thought you were going to say Mr. Jansen was really boring first hour and I fell asleep.
No. I mean, I was still asleep.
Okay, check your answers.
Oh.